Hey everybody, this is Brian from Tokyo Record Style. Happy weekend. I hope everybody's out there enjoying some sunshine, maybe getting to the record store, out having a happy Saturday still or Sunday, wherever you are in the world. It's Sunday afternoon here and I am home. The family is out and I just thought I would take a minute to actually do something I'm not entirely comfortable with doing, but I'm just going to go for it because if you don't try, you fail 100% of the times you don't try. So I have a big ask. And I don't expect anybody to rally to help, but I'm going to ask anyway. Now, this is a big ask. It's a big gift giving ask. And because it's about gift giving, I wanted to point out a couple of gifts. Suddenly, I just kind of this just popped into my head, but I'm actually wearing my Bob Dylan hat that my dear friend Bemsha brought back from the Bob Dylan concert that was here recently. And I really, really love this hat. Tatsuo, DJ Bemsha, was really sweet. He went to the U2 concert and brought me back a Joshua Tree badge, and he brought me back a Dylan hat from the Dylan concert. One of these days I'm going to have the money to afford to go to these concerts. But thank you, Tat, for giving me this really cool hat. I got a lot of compliments on it. And actually, Bob Dylan, I got this book for Christmas. I think either my mom or my sister I got these two great books. I got a Beatles, I forget which one gave me which, but I got this great book, The Philosophy of the Modern Song by Bob Dylan. And look at this cover. It's just so cool. I should know who's on the cover, and somebody will say oh my God, you don't know who's on the cover? I know Little Richard, but I'm not sure who these two guys are. I think they're sort of, maybe if I was born in a slightly different era, I would know who they are. But it's a really cool book of essays. It's got cool pictures in it. Here's Elvis shopping at the record store. And on the back cover, there's another really cool record store from the 50s, maybe, early 60s. Billie Holiday record down here on the bottom. Gosh, can you imagine? And it's these, let me see if I can find out who's on the cover here real quick. It doesn't, I'm not sure I'm going to get into it, but look at this cool picture. The record pressing factory, the superheroes of the factory, putting records in I'm not sure what that sing along with. I'm not sure who that is. But each chapter is just a couple of pages, and it features one particular artist. So this is chapter 1, Detroit City, Bobby Bear, and it talks about these songs that were formative, influential to Bob Dylan, and he pulls out quotes and he says why these songs were important to them, and it's kind of interesting. It's like a two-part essay. The first part, he talks about the song itself, and then he'll give some context about how it got made. This one's connected to Detroit and to Motor City. And then in the second half of the essay, he writes a different kind of style. He writes his sort of musings on it and shares these beautiful images of things like this. And there are lots of artists that I didn't really know. They're all quite cool. I mean, especially in the beginning, there's artists whose names you know, but whose work you don't really know. Webb Pierce. I mean, I've heard that name before. Elvis, Perry Como, these kinds of guys. But when he got to, I was really happy to read, Tutti Frutti, Little Richard, who was featured on the cover, who I knew of Little Richard as a kid, and he was sort of like Mr. T when I was young. He was just like a character in pop culture. I didn't really know the significance of his work. But this little beginning essay is quite cool. Tutti Frutti. This is the essay about Tutti Frutti. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it says, a wop bop a loo bop a bop bam boom. Little Richard was speaking in tongues across the airwaves long before anybody knew what was happening. He took speaking in tongues right out of the sweaty canvas tent and put it on the mainstream radio. He even screamed like a holy preacher, which is what he was. Little Richard is the master of the double entendre. Tutti Frutti is a good example. A fruit, a male homosexual, and a Tutti Frutti is all fruit. It's also sugary ice cream, a gal named Sue and a gal named Daisy, and they're both transvestites. Did you ever see Elvis singing Tutti Frutti on Ed Sullivan? Does he know what he's singing about? Do you think Ed Sullivan knows? Do you think they both know? Of all the people who sang Tutti Frutti, Pat Boone was probably the only one who knew what he was singing about, and Pat knows about speaking in tongues as well. And there's a lot of people in Richard's songs, and he's got these beautiful photos that come along the way. And there's Sam Cooke, I think, over there on the left. And who are these other guys? I can't remember, but a really cool book. Thank you to my family for scoring this book for me for Christmas. It inspired me to, this was another amazing gift that I got from Miro, the artist Miro, whose Blue Identity series is about blue is peace, and blue is noble, and blue is anti-discriminatory. And he's mostly featuring like reggae legends, but I was very happy to see Little Richard among the artists who he's featuring. I think Little Richard probably made his way on the airwaves from New Orleans on longwave radio to Jamaica, and I think he had a big influence on early Jamaican music and the sounds of America. And that inspired me on my last trip to Toto Records to get this Little Richard record, this single. I think this is my first Little Richard record. It's got He's Not Just a Soldier, and this is a heartfelt song. This is a protest song. It's a really amazing, beautiful song that really gives you pause. It makes you think. It was about war, and it was about these soldiers are not just soldiers, they're boys. And Joy, I believe this one is Joy, 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 Joy down in my heart. Hey, it's a really fun one. And so I think actually the B-sides even, I'm gonna crank the B-side. Hey, look at young little Richard with his like nice mustache, Japanese pressing. Really stoked on this. So those were some really nice gifts I got this year, and I want to thank you to my friends and family who scored those for me. And I'm getting into the next part here about gift giving. Gift giving. I'm not even sure I'm comfortable mentioning that, but having done this photo hoku, this volunteer project where we went to the devastated regions of Japan that were affected by the big tsunami, and we took busfuls of photographers up there. It was a small volunteer project that was using photography as a means to do goodwill projects. They grew into a very big project, and I hesitated to ask people to donate to the project because we weren't a nonprofit organization per se. I mean, we weren't registered. I mean, we certainly weren't profiting, but we were just flying by the seat of our pants. And we thought that because we were asking people to come up there with us, that we would try to pay their way to go there. We would pay their bus fare or their train fare to get them up there because they were giving their time. And I had to ask for like donations from my friends and family to help me support those travel expenses for my colleagues and friends. And I think people were hesitant to just give us cash, not really completely understanding where it was going, even though it was going directly to pay for those travel expenses. And a friend of mine who was sort of a confidant on the project suggested to me that maybe I don't need to actually ask everybody to pay. I don't need to pay everybody's way to get them there. Maybe they'd be willing to pay themselves. If you just gave them an opportunity to get up there, you wouldn't need to ask. You could ask your community to support you in other ways and not necessarily with transportation fees. And so I asked my friends and the people who joined the Photo Hoku project, would you be willing to pay for your own way to get there? And it was a resounding yes. Of course, everybody was willing to. And that was I was very, very grateful for that. And that released me from the stress. I mean, we paid for the first eight of these efforts, and we went on to do 50 more of them. And the reason we did was because everybody chipped in a little bit. And I also got the idea to create an Amazon wish list. Now, the Amazon wish list was like, I needed things like film, I needed photo albums, I needed art supplies, I needed things to realize this project. And it was a way for people to see exactly where their contribution was going. And so I created this wish list. I needed 20 photo albums. I needed 20 things to film. I needed, 5 sets of art supplies, and boom, they were gone immediately. People were really super willing to support an Amazon wish list I think because they could understand where their contribution was going. So that was a learning thing that I want to share with you. Maybe if you're trying to put together a project and you don't know exactly how to get it funded and you're hesitant to ask people directly for cash, this might be an interesting way to give them an opportunity to support you. So for Tokyo Record Style, it's not necessarily a goodwill project, although that's debatable. I think there's a lot of goodwill in this project, and I think there will be a goodwill. And having done the Photo Hoku project, I think it'll be baked into our DNA. Fine, we'll find some ways to give back give back as best we can through our love of music. But I put together an Amazon wish list, which has a bunch of things that that I need on the wish list, that I need to sort of get to the next chapter, get to the next stage of Tokyo Record Style and top 5 records. Some of the goals I want to achieve are like, setting up, getting this YouTube channel a little bit better, more off the ground. I want to get a podcast going. I want to have an event every month, and I want to I need like equipment to do it. And I put together a wish list. My Amazon here just crashed, but I just want to show you real quick. If you go to tokyorecordstyle.com or tokyo.record.style, you'll see over in the connect area, there's a connect field. You'll see that there's a opportunity to support, and I've got a Patreon set up, and I've got an Amazon wish list set up. And I would like you guys, if you're so willing, to go check out my Amazon wish list. And I thought I would just take this chance. All this is explained on the wish list, but it says this is a wish list for Tokyo Record Style, a project that celebrates music loving, vinyl record loving in Tokyo and around the world. Our aim is to continue to create high quality content for a growing audience. These would include creating in-person events, online events, streamed events, conducting audio and visual interviews, podcasts, multimedia channel that spotlights the community members' musical love and appreciation. And these tools would help us reach our goals. So I need some microphones for an actual event. I need a projector to project these slideshows on. I've been borrowing one from my friend, and I've outworn my welcome. And so I need one of these projectors. I need some ancillary gear for these projectors. I've got two projectors on here because I can imagine maybe the project growing into a bigger space where there's more need for another projector. But I only need one of these at the moment. But basically, these are ordered in the priority that I need them. An audio recorder. This is like so I can record the presentations that people are giving. Their top 5 presentations. They're talking about they're celebrating their top 5 records on various themes as part of our top 5 records thing. A video camera would help us live stream these events and archive them for posterity. Then I'm kind of into the podcast section where I could use a different kind of microphone. These are not cheap, and maybe I could get by with something not as nice, but I'm just picking out sort of the industry standard mics, the SM7B or whatever, and then the boom arms, and this is the mixer. And I know a lot about running one of these online streaming control desks. Not a lot, but I've done 100 of these events, and it's quite complicated. And this one is kind of like the cheapest one that you can do everything that you need to do to be able to get people to come in from overseas, get people to come online, to create a hybrid event. And some headphones for the podcast and some other stuff. And that's actually the end of the list. And I wanted to just point out that I created this list, and I didn't put it out there yet, but my very, very, very kind one of my kind supporter friends sent me a microphone, an SM58. This is the standard issue microphone that everybody uses. And I want to send a giant thank you to my very, very, very good friend who will remain anonymous. But a microphone is not going to be that interesting to unbox, but I'm going to unbox it because unboxing is a thing that we do now, I guess. And I'm just so excited. So this microphone is quite important, and it's quite symbolic too, because we're getting ready to create a really interesting broadcast multimedia experience that celebrates record loving around the world. Legendary local microphone, SM58 from Shure. I think this is like the one that Springsteen sings on his, or U2, the Chili Peppers. So you open it up. It's got a nice Shure sticker on the inside. I think I'll throw that up on my 45 box. Thanks, Shure, for this bonus sticker. Cool. You got a little microphone stand slot. Then you've got whoa, better be careful. You got your packaging here. You've got this is for the cables, maybe like a cable management Velcro system. You've got the manual and the manual and the guarantee, and a nice branded Shure case. Let's check this puppy out. Okay, look at that. Nice microphone, XLR microphone, standard issue, the one that all the guys use. Oh, this one doesn't have the switch on it. I must have chosen the one without the switch, which I think mixing board guys will swear that this is the best one, because everybody always does this when they're trying to turn the switch off. Maybe it's better to have one. I don't know. But there we go. There's a microphone. So big thank you to my friend. Thanks for indulging me on this video. And if you're so inclined, please go to tokyo.record.style, go over into the about page, and not about page rather, but the connect page. Here, I'll even navigate. Okay, so if you go to tokyo.record.style and you go to the menu and you go to connect, and connect will, do the drop down menu and connect, and then go to support TRS, support Tokyo Record Style. Oh, and then there's an Amazon wish list right here. It takes you to the Amazon wish list where you can navigate to the Amazon wish list. There it is. And when you check out, if you do, God, I know nobody's going to, but if you do, thank you in advance. But if you do, just make sure that it's shipped to my address in Japan, which is listed as one of the choices. You might have to navigate past the add to cart and get to the payment area. But if you do, it'll be ensured that it gets to me and not to your house. And it may say something like address not published, but once you get to the next page, it should appear. Okay, like I said, don't feel entirely comfortable asking for handouts, but I really do believe that we're onto something really fun, and I'm like those plates spinning on top of the sticks, and I'm just spinning 25 of them at the moment, and they're all super, super, super exciting, and I would just love a little bit of wind at my back if anybody is so generously willing to help me get to the next level of this. You'll be forever in my debt, and or I'll be forever in your debt, rather. You'll be forever in my debt. But we're doing something fun, and I'm really, really believing it. So come, please be a part of it. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Maybe I'll see you out there at the record store. Until next time, bye.